wait for the judgment to come from the Supreme Court. And already they have expressed their disappointment about the fact that the president has nonetheless proceeded to make the appointment. There are lots of issues to discuss about this whole situation here. Questions about what happens to George Ekufu Dampare, because he's nowhere near retirement. He has risen beyond the COP level. So does he remain in the service, or is he being asked to proceed on retirement? We do not know, and those are all matters that we'll try to get some answers to. The other question remains the fact that Yohuno, who is now the new IGP, himself is not far from retirement. In times past, we've seen the IGPs who take over, they retire and they are given contract extensions. We understand. The question is that, would that be his story as well? Why not a substantive new IGP who can last maybe longer than that? We do not know. All those are matters that we'll be looking at. But let me walk you through that press release that came from the presidency right about now. And so it says here, President Mahama appoints COP Yohuno as Inspector General of Police, and it reads, President John Dramani Mahama has, in accordance with Article 91 and 202 of the 1992 Constitution and in consultation with the Council of State, appointed Commissioner of Police Christian Tete Yohuno as the Inspector General of Police. He replaces COP Dr. George Ekufu Dampare. COP Yohuno brings 40 years of experience to the position of IGP and is expected to oversee the modernization and transformation of the Ghana Police Service. So you realize that the second paragraph, that sentence, he replaces COP Dr. George Ekufu Dampare, is the only time reference is made to Dr. George Ekufu Dampare. And interestingly, they put the title COP there. We know that once he became IGP, in all the communication is referred to as IGP, but the letter makes reference to him as COP Dr. George Ekufu Dampare. We are not told whether he is remaining in the service or he's leaving. So there are lots of reactions have already started coming through. And there's this video that, we saw on social media of some individuals who had visited the newly appointed IGP to congratulate him. Just watch.
The new Inspector General of Police. Yes, the people's choice. The police cannot do without him. Hey, congratulations, 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 Yes, this is a new Inspector General of Police. The people try, the police people try. The pen and the pen has spoken. The master of operations, master of police intelligence. Hey, don't talk with this. The people's choice.
So you saw COP Yohuno, now IGP Yohuno, flanked by some individuals congratulating him, and you heard some of the things they were saying there. Let me bring in my guest for today. Almost the team is together with the exception of Ebo. Good morning to Ebo, where you are. I'm joined by Abraham Amaleba. He's the Director General for the National Road Safety Authority. Mr. Amaleba, good to see you again.
Yeah, good morning.
I'm also joined by Kwame Jantuah, a legal practitioner, energy analyst, a member of the Convention People's Party. Mr. Jantuah, good to see you once again.
Good morning, how are you?
And next to him is, ordinarily, Ebo should be between, but Ebo is not here. So we have Professor Enoch Opoku-Entry, is a governance and policy analyst. Prof, thank you for joining us once again.
It's always a pleasure to be here. Greetings to all your listeners everywhere in the world.
Great. We'll also be joined by Professor Kwesi Enin. He is one of the individuals who has taken the matter up to the Supreme Court, and like we already indicated, it preceded all the issues that surrounded, but the fresh aspect of it was the injunction. He will also be joining us with his perspective, mainly as a security analyst, and what he makes of what has transpired. And there are many angles to this story that we would be delving into shortly, but I want us to start off first with initial comments, and let me start with Prof, since you are the closest to me. How did you receive news of the removal, let me just say the appointment of the new IGP?
I think how I received it, I was so dazed. In fact, I was shocked to see and hear that this is true. Prior to this, there were a lot of teasers on social media about the IGP going to be fired and then there'll be Yohuno coming in. But people thought it was a joke, just one of those things, because they were testing waters. Now, it's clear from the presidency that Dampare has been fired. He's 54, if we had allowed him to continue to 60, I think he would have done a great job for this country because he's been a great leader, exceptional leader in the police service. Yohono is 59. He's got just 1 year to retire. So I don't know what is going to happen. Either they're going to give him contractual extension. But I think that there are many questions than answers as of now. And you go to social media because there are different generational people who go to social media to post what is happening. So I've checked TikTok, I've checked Facebook, I've checked Instagram, and I've seen comments that people are making that will miss him. There's going to be a big shoe for this guy to fill. The way he lifted the face of the police service everywhere. We have corruption that has been zeroed down, not corruption, but armed robbery, because that was a big issue. We were all slaves in our own homes, you know, because when you sleep, you have to lock all the doors and people were afraid. He's been able to calm that one down. Now talk about even the land guards. He's been able to solve that problem. The police canine units. If you go to the police headquarters, you will see the massive work. Even the Minister of Interior was saying it. The massive job is done there. If you go to Kwabenya, you will see that there's a whole unit that police motors will come and then fill their tank every morning, and they will be dispersed to go to combat crime. You will see the CID unit, you see the DOFSU unit, you see the police service unit, where all police cars are now serviced at one place. We even have a place where now all police cars are washed at one place. So the police service, you know, since Peter Namfori that I got to know the police service, you will know that there are camps in the police service. And he's been able to neutralize all those camps, you know, and you could see that he had a clear vision for our police service. The police became friends of the people. Everybody could work anywhere. He himself was a very open-minded person. He was not a closed-minded person, but open-minded, who could go anywhere, mingle with the people. Last week, I was at his funeral, at his mother-in-law at Vapo, and I hugged him. So I know how friendly he is, and some of the time he will meet you, say, you know, hold my hand and let's pray for this country. I know how dear he loved the country. When he finished King's College in UK, they wanted him to teach there, like myself, and we decided to come back home and help. So the sacrifices that he's made, I think politics get into the way of many things. And I've heard people saying that, well, the president has to pick somebody he's comfortable with. Yesterday, I heard my good friend, Martin Kwebu, saying that the IGP is a political appointment. You know, so it's kind of political. If any presidential appointment is political, then what about the Supreme Court judges? Okay. That will also be political. Okay. So we have to look at the thing holistically. I think that we will miss him now that he's gone.
Let me come to Mr. Jantuah. How did you receive this news? I mean, clearly Prof was quite surprised when the news came in. Is that the same story for you? Or you belong to those who have said that Asem Keseba, Frank, how do they say that?
Good morning to our viewers. I was indifferent.
Okay.
Executive power is executive power. The president changes who he feels he can work with. I have encountered Dampare a few times. Fine gentleman. Does his work, okay. The fact that he does his work, okay, doesn't mean that the president cannot decide to do what? To change somebody he feels he can't work with. And so if it's the president, remember, it's executive power. And it's not as if the power doesn't have the right, the president doesn't have the right to do it. He has the right to do it. It's part and parcel of his work schedule. So if he decides to change someone, nobody can hold him responsible for doing that. He's doing his work. For what I don't understand is the court case that Imani and our good Professor Enning says we should wait for results of the court case. President Mahama is not President Akufo-Addo. They're two different individuals. And a court case cannot determine the responsibility and work of the president. Let the court case come, let them give their verdict, but the president still has to do his work. So I don't see anything wrong there. And there's more to come. I knew about the change of the IGP around 10th January, and I knew it would be this guy from my own sources. And more is going to come. The military, that one is going to come. The president has to work with people he's comfortable with, period. I mean, if it so happens, and the new IGP He's worked with Dampare, hasn't he?
Yes, he has.
They all work together.
In fact, last year he was appointed as a deputy IGP in charge of operations.
Exactly. So some of the things that the IGP is doing, as a member of the IGP's council, if I can put it that way, he's part and parcel of some of the things that the former IGP did. So he can choose to keep following it. He can choose to add value to what they decided. It becomes a challenge if the two of them were at loggerheads while Dampare was IGP, that they were throwing stones at each other. That then becomes a difficult thing. However, we haven't heard anything like that. And the new IGP has 40 years experience. Let's see what he brings on the table. But with regards to the suit, when President Akufo-Addo changed the IGP of his time, was there any lawsuit?
None comes to mind.
Did anybody say that he doesn't have the right to do it?
No.
So what's all this about? Yes, I do look at the age, 54 to 59. The Constitution allows extension, doesn't it? So they can extend him. The most important thing is that the police force or the police service would be better with the new IGP. Some might argue, why is it that any president that comes wants to change? Sometimes you don't get the kind of continuity within the service. However, they work together. They're not at loggerheads. They work together as a team. Things that they do together in terms of decision making. So I don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, let's see what the new IGP brings to the table.
I want to stay a bit with you because I'll be asking Mr. Amalibe a completely different question. Why did the president take this long to make the change? And I'm asking because on 10th January, he actually, through the secretary, wrote to the IGP asking for immediate investigation into the death of 8 Ghanaians during the 2020 and the 2024 elections. And he gave him a series of instructions that he expected him to comply with. So the question remains that, and already I've read some people make reference to a part of the letter where he says, to maintain public trust and ensure transparency, we kindly request periodic updates on the progress of the investigation. This will help keep stakeholders informed and assure the public of your commitment to uncovering the truth. There are those who are looking at this and saying that, well, maybe the president wanted to keep him, but at least from January till now, the public has not received any information about the investigation. And they are potentially saying that maybe this is what has accounted for his removal.
That one I can't tell. It could be, could not be. That one I can't tell. I can't comment on that. But when you talk to police people within the police service, they would tell you that Dampare was a good guy. Dampare started very well. However, down the line, certain things he was doing made it difficult for them to support him, like transfers, like promoting juniors while others were there. The system within his working environment kind of changed, and police people weren't happy. So, and I'm sure the president would take notes, the president would be told, the president would get information. So it could be that some of these things too contributed to it. But really and truly, I don't see what the hue and cry is about. The president decides he wants to change, he's changed. Look, it's a security service. When President Akufo-Addo came, he changed. President Kufuor, he changed.
In fact, even in President Akufo-Addo's situation, he changed someone he had even appointed. So there was Appeal to initially. He changed and went for Opombuenu.
Most presidents have changed. And a typical example, you probably weren't born then. Typical example.
What do you like?
But it's true. It was because I know because it's not a question of age. It's a question of It's a question of events.
Okay, which period are we coming to talk about? Is 66?
66.
Okay, you're talking about Halley's
JWK Halley was what?
Involvement in the coup, and he became a deputy chairperson. He became a deputy chairperson of the National Liberation Council.
I was testing. He's trying to prove me wrong. But
I'm giving you the information.
Whatever. I know it, so don't give me the information. I know it. At least it's good. It's good that it shows that it's good that you're in this chair because you've got your information. We can't bully you. But you see what happened then.
Yeah.
So probably from that time, the trust in continuing an IGP or security chief who has been there with another government in power has gone through, and it's now become a convention. It could be that. But that was a typical example of betrayal. Typical example of betrayal. And the security services are sensitive, very, very sensitive. One day we will get to the point where, and you see, maybe we should look at the appointments of some of these things, whether, yes, it should be executive appointment or it should come from within. It should come from within with the approval of the president.
In fact, the reference to the Nkrumah era, I just took a look back at Nkrumah's book, Dark Days in Ghana.
Yes.
And in discussing who he thinks was the mastermind behind the coup, he says it was Halley, that is the IGP, and his close associates who subverted the army and persuaded certain officers to carry out the military side of the operation. And so it's important that whoever is in the holder view that should be comfortable.
But that perspective is gone.
It's very, whatever
it's a
there's history.
I'll come back to Prof shortly, but
it could have gone, but it is something that has become a convention. Should we break that convention?
Exactly.
Should we break it? And if we break it, then that means we also have to look at how some of these people are put in place. The president and executive power. Well, they're reviewing the Constitution. So let's see.
Maybe something they can take a look at.
What would happen there?
Let me bring in Mr. Maliba at this point. And the question is not your reaction, but my question to you is, what do we know about this entire removal?
If you're asking me to tell you what happened at the Flagstaff House, I can't tell you because I don't work there. But what I know is that once there's a change of government, these things do happen. It's frequent. They do happen. And I'm sure if you ask Dampare himself, he will tell you that that is how the game is. He will tell you that these positions are not possessions. And that he knows that one day he will go. I've heard people say that he has been sacked. He has not been sacked. The letter doesn't state that he has been sacked. When you are sacked, you don't take your entitlements. You just go home. But effectively, what has happened to him is a retirement.
Early retirement.
Early retirement. That's what has happened to him. I agree with Prof, the kinds of things Dampare did in the police service, and I'm equally in line with his thinking. I agree. He's brought a lot of changes. Just go to the police headquarters, walk in there alone, and you see that during those days when the place was messy, you can see orderliness in that place. So I agree with him. But Dampare himself, if you ask him, in his heart of hearts, know that one day he will go. And I'm not sure he's bothered at all. This is a man with accountancy, IC. He's a self-made man. He's not bothered. But people make it look as if this is a man who will be worried. Look, the power to appoint also implies the power to disappoint. And so he was appointed by a president. There's a continuum. Governance is a continuum. There's a president. The president has fired him. There are people who are talking, I'm thinking that's what Prof. Nimenku are looking at, that there must be a just cause for removal. But you see, in such positions, particularly in security positions, I don't think that the president will come out and provide the reasons for removal. If, let's say there's a lapse in, say, security work, because of the nature of the information, you can't come and say that I am removing this person because he failed to ensure that Ghana border and Togo border was not well closed. Yeah, I'm just giving a while. So, even if there's a just cause, it is not in the interest of our national security for that just cause to be made public. You understand? And so, for me, I know that one day we'll get to this. Was he victimized? I don't think he was victimized. Because if that were the case, I'm not sure the president would have even worked with him from day one when he took over. So I just think that there's just these changes that the president is doing, and he thinks that Nyohonu will be the right person to take over.
I mean, there's a question I put to counsel here about the fact that just in January he had given him some work to be done. I mean, you started off by making a point that he always should have known he was going to go at some point. But given that he had been given that work to perform, that begs the question, and it leaves people to suspect that it potentially means that he did something wrong within the last few months. I mean, since January at least. Because you took over, you gave him such an important task to perform.
Yeah. So, because there was no explanation to the reason why he was replaced, and it's noticed that I use my words carefully, not sacked, why he was replaced, it is open to all manner of guesses, and this can be one of it. I'm not saying that is the reason. It can be one of it. So, I am not going to fault anybody who says it is because of 1, 2, 3, 4 reasons. I'm not going to fault anybody. But I'm just saying that this is expected. This is how new governments do their things. Because when they come, they want to change people and put people they trust and all those things. Somebody could also say that maybe the president doesn't trust him. That's what he says. And so I think clearly we don't need to overblow this thing. And we just have to wish Dampare well in his next endeavor, and I think that he will do better wherever he finds himself. I
mean, the other issue we're talking about had to do with the trust issue, which you spoke of. Do you agree with the school of thought that posits that, look, the president must have confidence in his security chiefs, else he may as well sleep knowing that he's not safe?
Yes, because there are some positions, if you become a president, you must appoint people who you trust. The person who holds your water, the person who cooks food for you, you know, the person who's your chief of staff.
The person who drives you.
The person who drives you. Now in governance, the person who watches over you when you are sleeping, that's the police. So even in our small office that we went and took over,
the president said your office is small.
You watching your water and food.
We watch our water and food there. This is our small office. So that it is a human factor. It's a human behavior. You must be prudent. You must be sensitive to all those things. So I agree with the trust issues as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me bring in Prof now. I mean, Prof, you're a governance person. You seem to disagree with some of the things that have been said so far. Let's start off first with the question of trust. And if you look through just the list of the IGPs that we've had over the years, you clearly see that even the governments of the day, they appoint and they change the people. And for new governments, it's almost automatic. They change the IGP.
If you look at the global trend of leadership, you will see that even before Trump came, the security chief in U.S. from Joe Biden said that he does not align with the ideals of Trump, so he will resign. So we have a situation where every intellectual knows that you are a steward in the position. You are not the first to occupy that position, and you will not be the last. You will not be the first president, and you will not be the last. Somebody will come. So we are all trustees, you know, stewards holding the position in trust. I have an issue with the executive power that they talk about. You know, executive power, in fact, leadership is your character in action. So Mohammed's character is what you are seeing in his leadership. Akufo-Addo's character is what you saw in his leadership. Rawlings' character is what you saw in his leadership. So every leader will see your character in your leadership. That's number one. Two, any leader appointed by a group to achieve a common goal, we expect that you champion the cause of the group. Once you shift from championing the cause of the group to think about your own, the people will kick you out. That's how politics have ever been. The third one is that are we doing this for the common good? So I expect the Constitutional Review Committee to look at this and see that can the police council select somebody to be the IGP so that politics will not come in. In that case, the council will have their own policies to remove the IGP.
I mean, but so the system now, is it broken? The
system now is trust that you talk about. And trust is defined in many ways, you know. But I think that we can be professionals. You don't necessarily, in any advanced country, you can work, people can argue, you know, agree to disagree agreeably, and then you come back and work professionally. So can we be professional instead of being sentimental about issues? I think that is the way we have to go. Now talk about promotions, which is one of the issues that have been raised. It is not only in the police service, but also in Ghana Education Service. And I remember the past minister, I tried to work those things with him. The Ghana Police, the Ghana Education Service has this, that you have to be 40 years before you become a headmaster. But our constitution says that by 21 years, you can become a member of parliament. Most 21 years have not even finished university. But they can become a member of parliament. And when you are teaching and you want to be a headmaster, you have to be 40 years before you can. Look at, they don't match. So people are being promoted when they are like 58, 57, 2-3 years before they retire to be a headmaster. Now, as soon as they get promoted, they switch from teaching mode to retirement mode. I'm going to retire. How do I get accommodation for myself because I'm going to retire? So in the advanced world, what they do is that they promote you based on efficiency, not based on age. So I went to a university to teach I've taught at 5 universities in the US. One of the universities that I taught for only 1 semester. And I remember this Professor Jeff Pepper, who had been there for 24 years, even being a dean before. He was the head of the department. After 1 semester, my students' evaluation was 98%. And then the current dean called both of us and said, Prof. Pepper, Enoch has now got student high evaluation, so he's going to head that department. He said, that's okay. He gave me everything that I needed, and there was no problem. So in the advanced country, promotion is not based on age. That have been said there 40 years. The impact, what you bring to the table is what we're talking about. So let's begin to shift from old age before people get promotion to efficiency. That is why Trump has got Elon Musk there in his office in charge of efficiency, because efficiency is what the world is looking for. But if we are all going for age for promotion, I disagree with that. The last thing that I want to talk about is the just cause. The just cause.
Before you go on, are you trying to say that because of the age of the new IGP...
That is not what I'm saying.
Let me finish my question. Because of the age of the new IGP, he would not have the requisite experience to be
not IGP. That at all, because the letter said that he's had 40 years.
When you talk age, it looks as if the age
I'm talking about practice.
Other things.
Kwame, you are my name. I'm talking about practice that we've had, that people have to grow, because what they hammered on was, he's had 40 years of service. But I can tell you somebody can have 5 years of effective and efficient service, and that person, I will promote that person over the person who has been there for 40 years. Because that is...
But you agree that the two can be true.
Exactly.
I mean, it can be true that
they can, but I am also bringing in a different perspective, that we've always looked at the age of service. Let's look at efficiency as well. That is all that I'm making. My last point is that I would have wished, because the letter said in consultation with the Council of State.
You're talking about just cause.
Yes, just cause. Yeah. That whether it is just or not, time will tell. I'll leave it as that. But my last point is that when we talk about letters in consultation with the Council of State, what I'm expecting is that the chair of the Council of State will come and say, the president talked to us. I know they can operate in secrecy, but anytime a board or a body is consulted in making a big decision like this, I expect the chair of the Council of State to come and say, the president consulted with us, we debated about this, and then we agree with the president. Just for the records.
I mean, for clarity, you lean towards the view that we should change the appointment process.
Yes.
You don't think it should be...
The police council should select their own IGP. It shouldn't come from the president.
I mean, the response would be that how the council is put together is such that he would, through the back door, one way or the other, still have an influence.
Because the vice president is the chair of the police council. So still the government is represented there. What I'm looking for is a way that we'll have bodies, independent bodies, selecting some of these security agencies. It will help us in the long run. Why am I saying so? Even the transition teams that we have, do you need that? We need a transition act. We need a transition act that will have. There's an act, but now is it working? The implementation has always been the problem.
It's what resulted in the setting up of the various transition.
Yes, but it has always been the problem. I want an independent body to be the act, that any time you know, a political party is leaving, they will hand over everything to the transition team, and then the incoming government will go to them, and then they will give everything back to them. That will be more sustainable than the way we are handling this, because every leader comes and then they kick out the security agency. It's not
Mr. Jantuah, just give me a minute. Let me just bring into the conversation very quickly. Professor Kwesi,
my train of thoughts.
Yes.
Anyway.
Okay, if you can do that in a minute for
Yes.
me. If you can do that in a minute.
It all depends on the kind of system we have.
Okay.
Our system is heavily politicized.
Okay.
And because it's heavily politicized, it's difficult to trust.
Okay.
When you take America today, it's only Trump coming in where you now get Republicans, you know, bowing to him. Before, you can have a Democrat in a particular position and it was fine.
Okay.
We haven't got to that stage because the partisanship is deep-seated.
Okay.
And that partisan, because the deep-seatedness of the passion, it makes it difficult to trust.
Okay.
We should change that. If we can change that, then maybe yes.
And I'll come back to you so that we explore that a bit further. Let me bring in Professor Kwesi. Prof, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, good morning. It's a great pleasure.
Yes, I mean, Prof, just first, by way of recounting some of the facts that we were aware of, I just want to put it to you just to confirm for me. We understand that the action that is pending at the Supreme Court, which judgment is to be delivered in May, was initiated long before even President Mahama won the election, and that the only fresh step was the injunction request that had been made to try and stop him from appointing a new person. And we are just not discussing the merits of it. Just want you to confirm those facts for me first.
Yes, the original request to the Supreme Court for an interpretation of Articles 200 and others was made, I think, April or May last year. If you remember, a couple of days ago, there were all these rumors. So this was just, the injunction was just to tell us we have this case pending. So it has nothing to do with the present government at all. You may need to ask legal experts, you know, what could have explained the long delay in passing or giving us some interpretation of the Constitution. Yes.
A lot of people are used to brushing this way, and that is not the recommended.
Okay. And I mean, Prof, I think we're having a challenge there. We'll just try and rectify that shortly. Prof, do I still have you on? Okay, I think we may have lost. Okay,
Hello,
so,
no, I am here. Maybe there's something wrong.
Okay, I can hear you now, Prof. I can hear you now. You can go on.
Yeah. So I was arguing that maybe you need to ask legal experts whether it is normal for it to have taken the time that it took for us to get some interpretation of what we filed, particularly when it deals with such a very sensitive topic. But it had nothing or has nothing to do with this new government at all. It was filed long for more than 6 months even before the elections. So, yeah.
Yeah, and Prof, in terms of the injunction request that was made, I understand that that request was made because you may have picked information that there was some action in place to appoint a new IGP. Is that also correct?
Well, I mean, you know yourself that quite a number of your members of your Inchi fraternity were all over the place. Likewise, TV station, all sorts of things. You know, look, I think it's mediocre when people think the essence of the Supreme Court's interpretation was about an individual. This is about security governance and the manner in which we seek to deepen professionalism and issues around integrity when those in office have not reached the mandatory age for retirement and have also not caused gross misconduct. You know, so we wanted an interpretation that says, look, how do you deal with these individuals who have served well, but were appointed under one government, and because of electoral processes, that government has changed. But there's no real just cause, for them to be put out of office. And that interpretation did not. Dr. Dampare has served well. I wish him very well, but I want to congratulate Mr. Yohunu and wish him well in his new office. As an individual and a researcher on these issues, who will continue to collaborate with the Ghana Police Service to achieve the strategic objectives and the transformation processes that have been going on for the past 20 years.
I mean, Prof, there's a part of the statement from the government that we were trying to make sense of. Because of your experience in how these appointments and removals are handled over the years, I just want to pick your brain on this. What do you understand in terms of the current status of Dr. George Akuffo Dampare? The statement says COP Yohunu replaces him. It does not tell us whether he's been retired, he's removed from the force, or he remains in the force. What's your own understanding of this situation?
He is retired effectively when the new IGP is sworn sometime later today. When you are in the statutory security forces, immediately a new one is appointed. Then the old one is retired. Now, in the armed forces and others, and that is why it's always very important that you cannot, for example, appoint someone who is 2, 3, 4 ranks below the established appointment that he's going to fail or she's going to fail. Because if you do that, because that person was junior and has been elevated to a much senior position, then all the seniors will have to go on retirement. That is why in these statutory forces, you see that the promotions and appointments, at least to the very highest rank, always, follow or it is based on the person who is most senior, so that it doesn't cascade down to too many people having to go.
Now, in terms of the new individual who has been appointed, COP Yohunu, I mean, what do you make of the fact that he has about a year to retire himself? And that would mean that there is obviously the only way he stays in office beyond that, there has to be a contractual extension, which is something that we've seen happen sometime in the past. And even individuals had even expressed concerns about whether that should even be good practice that we should be encouraging.
Well, I think this is an issue that we've taken on and discussed severally. I don't think it has to do with Mr. Yohunu as an individual. I think the bigger question is about our security partners. What is it that we seek to achieve with the appointments that we make? Look, you can talk to most people. When certain levels of leadership needs stability and a certain length of time to be able to bring in more that one wants. And if you look at the last two sentences, I think the word transformation and another word, those, to continue a transformative process in any institution takes time. So if statutorily he has 1 year, then I think it's important to assure him, if they want to keep him on, that we will give you a contract. So that the last two sentences of the press release informing us of his appointment will put to rest any speculation as to whether he has only 1 year, and after the 1 year there will be all this hullabaloo. Because this is a big service, and the jostling for power is always present. So we need some stability. Well, we have had stability for about 4 years going forward, so that he can continue with the transformation agenda.
I mean, Prof, there was one issue that we are trying to discuss around the table, having to do with whether we should keep the current arrangement. I know those are questions that you're asking, but I just want your expertise from our historical experience. And the point that is being made around the table that, look, our very first coup d'etat, the role of the IGP in, maybe we should just keep the current arrangement and allow the president to appoint the security chiefs just to assure him of his safety and the safety of the nation. I get a sense that generally you do not agree with that view.
No, but the president alone does not appoint. I mean, he does it in consultation, I think, with the Council of State.
Yeah.
But of course, he will present the list of names. The argument that we are making is not about whether the president can appoint or not appoint. The fundamental discussing argument is that when you are in a position and you are not yet 60, and you have not flouted the rules, you are not sick, then there should be an interpretation whether such people must summarily be sent home because the government has changed. That is the crux of the argument. And I think we didn't get the interpretation, so it's continued as has been done for quite a very long time.
Yes, you can go ahead. Mr. Jantuah, I have Mr. Kwame Jantuah with me in the studio. He's a legal practitioner. He wants to ask a question as well.
Prof, let me ask you, if a president is going to work with, say, a security chief, should he not be comfortable with the person he's going to work with? Doesn't that play a part in his decisions?
Oh, that is the normal thing. Now, let me take your mind back a little bit. Prior to the 2008 elections, or the 2016 elections, I think, there was so much mistrust between some of the political parties and the statutory security services that they actually brought in mercenaries to train their own quasi-security services to be able to confront the statutory security services. Okay. The underpinning argument is that by the time you get to that position to serve the president in Ghana, your loyalty is unquestionable. That is what ought to be. That your loyalty is so unquestionable to the Republic of Ghana and to the government that you are serving. That whether you were appointed by X or Y, it doesn't really matter. But over time, we've trusted ourselves as a people that we want to be linked directly to an individual handpicked because that person is perceived to be loyal. And though the person is qualified, occasionally we've seen instances where that loyalty clashes with professionalism and, the performance of his duties. Probably this is not the forum to cite examples. So probably our naive dream and optimism is that can we as Ghanaians actually show the world that this can be done?
That's difficult.
Okay. I mean, yes, Prof, two main issues so that I wrap up with you. I know you have other engagements as well. First, on what, in your opinion, is the legacy of George Dampare as IGP? That is one. And the second, if you can tie in it with the issue of what do you think should be the main things that you expect a COP Yohuno to focus on?
Well, I think COP Yohuno's orders have been given already in terms of the letter or the statement that came out. It's about transformation or continuing the transformation and deepening the effectiveness. I think Dr. Dampare's legacy will be the way he touched the lives of ordinary Ghanaians who were recipients of the services of the Ghana Police Service, in transforming the service to have an impression of itself as an institution that should serve the people of this country. And I think his humility, the speed with which he went to places where a crisis had happened, people had been hurt, I think brought policing to the doorstep of ordinary Ghanaians. And I think I, as an individual, want to thank him very much.
We'll leave it here with you, Professor Kwesi Enin. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Professor Enin is a security analyst. He's also one of the individuals who are behind the action, together with Imani Africa, against the Attorney General, seeking some interpretation to the issues of the appointment and removal. He says the focus more is on the removal, and especially when the person has not even retired. Mr. Maliban.
Akable, I heard Prof talk about tinkering with the appointment processes. And when I heard him speak, I cringed because, look, do you know why teachers don't stage coup d'etats? Because their weapon is a chalk. So if you are a president and
Oh my God. Abraham. Your name is Abraham.
Not a pencil. their weapon is a chalk.
When you asked the question, I was wondering what the answer was.
Yeah.
I provided the answer.
He's a lawyer.
It's a chalk.
I think of a chalk.
It's a chalk. It is not like those in the uniform have a much propensity to stage coup d'etat. So. Nurses can also stage coup d'etat, but they don't have the weapons. You get my point?
Yes.
So that's why when there is a disgruntlement in the society, you go to the nurse, he's going to inject you, then you'll be talking, then he has a needle.
But he's not going to kill you.
But she's not going to kill you. But she means that if that person has a gun, he also stage a coup d'etat.
You know what is
Then the teacher will go to the classroom. This your government is not good at all. This your government, look at this. That person too gets a gun and do it. But the army, the police, they have the gun already.
security chiefs.
So you don't leave those people to other people to appoint for you. So that is a rationale, and we must all understand it. And I want to be practical and real in these matters. All these security chiefs, they know in their hearts of heart that one day they will go, and that the one who appointed them, if that person goes, they are also likely to go. I don't think there should be a fuss about this. Professor Nim's experiment that there's a situation where you can find loyalty and incompetence. But who determines that? It's the president. If the president found the two in Dampare, he would have reserved him. Indeed, there are instances where, when there's a change of government, some appointees are left to stay. Probably because there's confidence in those people to continue working.
In fact, on social media, people have made reference to Minerals Commission and I think the airports as well, and they're already asking questions about what is happening there.
Good. And in my view, I don't think that fits the bill. I know of, during Professor Mill's time, the man in charge of Fofi, in charge of Cocoa Board, was asked to stay and continue. You know. But these ones that you are talking about, it's not the kind of thing that we are talking about, yes. Because I'm sure, and Prof said it, it's in the nature of the kind of person who is the president. You know, Mahama is methodical, you know. It will come to your turn, you know. But Akufo-Addo will crack the whip.
But so you are saying that
Mahama will deal with you.
He's moving.
He's gradually, yes. Yeah, it will come. So our party supporters should not be in a hurry. It's the nature of the president. Everybody has his nature, you know.
There's something interesting he said. I just want to pick your views before I come to Mr. Jantuah and Prof. On the capping, making a point that once the person is appointed, at least we should just hold on till he retires and he goes. as against allowing you to be able to remove them when he's not
tying the hands, and comes back to my analogy of a teacher not making a coup. That's tying hands. That is actually putting together a cake of gunpowder waiting to explode for you. No. So you make him 7 years, you cap him. The next person comes, he has to deal with him. And if that person doesn't like you, and we know these things, what will happen? So it is, let's leave it as it is. It has not done anything. It's only individuals who may feel affected, but the society is okay of it. I think that we should continue with that.
Mr. Jantuah, more directly, where do you stand exactly? We should leave it as it is, or we should fix the appointment process? I want to be clear on that.
Was JWK highly loyal to Nkrumah?
I mean, absolutely not.
Exactly. That answers my question. He wasn't loyal to Nkrumah. And any president, as I said, should be comfortable with who he works with. He has executive power. And he can, if he feels that he's not comfortable, from all the information he gets, from his investigations he would have made, and definitely, I do not think he went to sit in front of the Council of State and said, change Dampare. Definitely, the chair would want reasons why. And if those reasons are acceptable to them, yes, the president isn't mandated to take the decisions that the Council of State might make based on his own reasons. But as Prof said, your actions in your character, and we've seen President Mahama, at least with this, his tenure, he listens. So he must have listened to the Council of State and indicate that, look, this is what I want to do, and he's done it. Look, I know that he was going to speak with the security heads. That was the next line. He was going to speak to all security heads. But because of some of these things that have happened, the court's case and all that, it's been held back. He has shown that he is ready to crack the whip. If you hear what happened at the SOE's event yesterday, he's ready to crack the whip, and he's ready to work with those he feels his agenda would be what? Would be achieved. Remember, he has only 4 years. He's not coming back. He needs to leave the kind of legacy that people will say President Mahama came and did the right thing and did well. The next coming in would now move the process forward. So for me, I don't see anything wrong with it. But yes, maybe it is something we should look at and debate. The Constitutional Review Commission is working. Let's see how we work that out. But definitely, the question of trust is key in everything decision the president makes.
I mean, Prof, have your views changed?
My views are still remain. You know, sometimes...
Will you be surprised if I tell you that, so the commissioner we're talking about, Hali, he was appointed, he took office in January of 1965, and 13 months later, 24 February 1966, he took part in the...
Yeah, we all know that part of the story, but things have changed from that time to now. I think
Mr. Malema says that they still have their guns.
I'm a positivist. I am a positivist. So if somebody is a realist, that's fine. If somebody is a pragmatist, that's fine. I have a psychology background. But what I would say is that sometimes, even in our own relationship, we are not comfortable sometimes with our spouses and our girlfriends and our boyfriends. But we become professional, you know, and then deal with it.
Yourself, why did I
I think that sometimes you need to get time to know somebody personally. I've had a situation where somebody has called me to talk about Abraham Amabila, that, he's doing Amabila things. But I've been with him on this platform. I've seen how calm he is, how thoughtful he is. Sometimes off the record, when we are talking, I listen to him. Psychologically, if somebody comes to you as a leader and say that Aka is this, and if you don't get the side of Aka, you judge Aka in that way, and that might be wrong. So you might not be comfortable with somebody because of what somebody might have told you, but get the chance to know the person. That's all that I'm saying. I'm bringing a different perspective in the way we think. Because when we are professional, because IGP that I've known him, Dampare, is, you know, very loyal to Ghana. He's very loyal to Ghana. So any political party, be it NPP or NDC, will not think that he is loyal to them. Because MPP people were complaining. Look at Asin Central, the by-elections.
Yeah.
Look at the current elections that Dampare was not allowing them to do a lot of things. He's loyal to Ghana. And we should begin to honor such people who are loyal to Ghana. We know what went to Supreme Court about Domelovo. And then the Supreme Court said that it was wrong that they fired him. Some people, when they are loyal to Ghana, sometimes political parties don't feel comfortable working with them. But I think that they are the best moving forward. We should work with them. The last point that I want to make is that Yohono should be careful about those who came to, I was talking to Abraham about that, who came to him and said, oh, you are the best, the nation's choice. In leadership, those who are the first to come to you and praise you, be careful about them. Okay. I've also seen the ministries, the new appointed ministers and CEOs and managing directors, you go and they will watch this person. They will come and tell you, watch other people. Be careful of those people rather, because they sow discord among people.
I mean, I want to start a new conversation with you. It's a conversation I picked up with Prof as well. You've already touched on some of the things. I mean, if you can just box it all together, what's the legacy of George Kofi Dampare as IGP?
Dampare made the police our friend. He was very humble. In fact, I've tried with some friends of mine, professors, to design a course in humility. It is the best trait in leadership, but it is difficult to point out to how humility is. He was very humble. He was open. He was collaborative. We all make mistakes, you know. Nobody's a perfect person. Anybody who tells you I'm a perfect person is a liar, because we are human, and being human means we make mistakes. But I think that his positives far outweighs his negative, and he's transformed the police service. So when we talk about Yohono going to further transform the police service, I am watching to see the kind of transformation he will bring. I
mean, the young people, they have a term they use. Kwame, do you know that term? Settings. Do you know that term?
Settings.
You don't know that.
No, you don't.
You're outside.
Yes, I know settings. I know settings.
Yes, I mean, Prof, they make the point that he was
that he was doing settings.
Yeah, I mean, they make the point that
settings came between Beam Nation and Shatawale when you talk about. So you know me, I'm current.
Yeah, Prof is very current.
I am current.
Prof is very current. I mean,
yeah, not my age. So.
But he had a good PR.
So much about his perception, perception of him.
He built a brand.
And that was, they said that it was superficial. It was not reflecting how, and they make reference to two. In fact, this morning, someone sent me a message about two individuals who had made comments. One is COP George Alex Mensah, retired.
Yes.
Who had said IGP Dampare was not managing the police service well. And Dr. Benjamin Agojo, also retired police officer. And the difference between the two people is that one was an MPP member. I mean, we know he tried to contest an MPP.
Yes.
And the other one was actually victimized by the MPP in power. And he came out publicly also say that, look, this man was not managing the police service well.
Do you remember that story? I sat here at Key Points to talk about that. COP Mensah and the others. They disrespected their boss. And in any civilized society, you'll be fired, insubordination. You see, so there are a lot of things that IGP changed. There were even galamsey that he was fighting. There are many things that I know I can't talk about. Okay. You know, so he has done his best. And I can tell you that from Peter Namfori time till now, he has been our best IGP.
Mr. Jantuah.
Let me take it from where he left off. He's done his best. As to what he could do, the process moves on. He's left his own legacy. Yes, when you get into the police headquarters, things have changed. There seems to be order. People seem to know their jobs. That is fantastic. Let's move on. I don't see what the hue and cry is. The president feels he needs to change the IGP. He's changed. Let's go on.
But generally, do you think he did a good job as IGP?
I think he did a good job to a certain point, but then internally, there were challenges as you narrated earlier. Those challenges kind of gradually vested, and it was becoming a cancer that was growing. And so his good sides might outweigh his bad sides. Nobody's perfect. You are not perfect, I'm not perfect. We all have weak points. And if the weak points are such that others don't think it puts us in a position to continue where we are, so be it. The president has the power, he has executive power, and he's used it.
I mean, one issue is critics raise against him is for such a highly educated officer, during the protests, how people were arrested, including lawyers, picked up and thrown behind bars. They say that the transformation that we speak of nothing changed with the police really. It's the same police that had been doing that for years. Slashing dissent or individuals who were doing things that the government didn't like.
Some of those things for me surprised me because I thought that the IGP would take charge of those people, those police officers who did such, but we heard nothing. The 8 people who died, election 2020, it was on the responsibility of the police to investigate. Have we heard anything till date?
No.
I remember AGI going to meet Dampare and asking him that particular question. And he says they were working on it. How long does it take? So there could be things in there that we don't know and we haven't seen. But internally, it festers and can create challenges for the police service. But all in all, security is security. The people who put you in power need to be sure that they can work with you. And if it so happens that they can't, fair enough. Dampare is not somebody we can, if I can use the word, he's ambidextrous. He has so many things he can do. Yeah. So I don't think it bothers him that much.
We need him academia.
Well, he can do anything. He has so many qualities that can even help. That can even help even the current IGP, the new one, because they've worked together. Yeah. They are friends. So Dampare came and took over from someone, didn't he?
Yes.
Somebody was taken out and he was put there. He's been taken out and has been put there. The process continues. The most important thing is that the police is not a force. The police is a service. And their responsibility is to the people of Ghana. And the people of Ghana should have confidence in their police service.
Mr. Maliba, I mean, the view that some express is that, I mean, he generally did a good job. There were low points in between. I mean, for a lot of media people, if you ask them, a major challenge that they had was how he centralized communication. I mean, in times past, you could call a district police commander and speak to a PRO. All that virtually disappeared.
And that was good or bad?
It depends on how you want to look at it. But it meant that if the central police at the headquarters, they don't release any information or an update on any issue, everyone was flying blind.
Yeah, and I think that was not good because most of the communicators in the police service were now left without any proper job doing. There's a lady called Gifted Tinge, something Tinge. Then there were very good communicators in the police service.
I know she's left the service. I think she works in Parliament now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then a good number of them, you know. Those days I could mention their names. The Northern Region man, Eastern Region, I could mention their names, but their names have all vanished because of what he did. And that department, the communication department of the police, I will never forgive him. I'm sure about that because I spoke to some of them. But, you know, he's my brother. I know he has connection to my village, and I meant to ask him what connection he has with my village. So, but as a person and as an administrator, he's brought changes to the face of the police. That one, you can't take it away. I agree with that. But, like the accounts will say, Nipa Beyebi, on Beyebi na.
My name is all teacher.
Oh, me teacher. You know, so basically,
I'll tell you a story one day.
Basically, I think that he's done his part, and he's done his part not in a small way, in a big way. He's transformed the police service. But the things you spoke about concerning the demonstrations,
yeah,
I think the police service itself needs reorientation. A complete reorientation in terms of how they are trained from their training school. Because they are still thinking and behaving like a force, when indeed they are a service. You know, when I was in Faculty of Law, those days I was eating at a common market. Then there was this policeman in uniform with his colleagues who were not in uniform in the evening, and they were eating. So he just got up and said, "My main sorry, and kochi kaskakra." I said, is that the way you are going to the roadside is to check kaskakra?
That was then, that is not now.
No, but how is it? My main sorry, kochi kaskakra. What does that mean? Are you going there to bring about law and order
or to check
kasses? So the orientation, that policeman, I've never forgotten of his statement. So
to make some money, right? To make some money.
What did you say to him?
No, me, I was shocked to my bone marrow that I didn't even want to talk. I'm sorry, why? So, so indeed, we need.
So you're saying it's still their mentality.
It's still their mentality. So we need to train them and give them what is called democratic policing. We are now in democracy.
Yeah.
Democratic policing. That is what you didn't see when they were just arresting anybody and lawyers and all bundle them together.
Yeah.
So it goes beyond Dampare. It is about the reorientation and the training, the lessons, the topics they teach them in the training school.
You see, Akable, when you go to places like the UK, you see a policeman. Uyembesho. Uyembesho, he is an embodiment of the law. He's not holding a gun. But they stick to the law. When you're driving and a police car is in front of you, you dare not overtake that police car.
You slow down.
You slow down.
Yeah.
And that is the kind of policing we need to have. The police themselves need to respect themselves for the people to respect them.
Maybe I'll let you start the final part of the conversation on what a new IGP needs to do. I mean, the president says that he's expected to oversee the modernization and transformation of the Ghana Police Service. And you are saying that how do they even go about this?
It's part and parcel of it. He's going to take over from where Dampare left off. The good thing is that he wasn't a junior member of the police. He wasn't a far senior member of the police. He worked with Dampare, so he has the ideas that they formulated together for the transition and the improvement of the police service. And I'm sure that he himself, the new IGP, would come and speak to, and I hope he will come and speak to the people of Ghana as to the new things that he's going to bring in for the people of Ghana to accept. Most importantly is for the people of Ghana to accept the transition, not political parties, the people of Ghana, because they serve the people of Ghana. A lot of the things the police do that, some that AB is talking about, should gradually be a thing of the past. And we need to see the police where we get comfort. So somebody is harassing you, or some thief has come to your house, or somebody has done something untoward where the law is concerned. We need to be able to have the kind of police action that would satisfy the people. Are people satisfied when they are thrown into cells? Are they satisfied the way they are treated? The way the police talk to them? Are they happy with that? You should be an embodiment of the law, and the law should speak for you as a policeman. If you arrest somebody, you need to be able to quote the law why you've arrested that person. Look, licenses. It's not every policeman can stop a car and ask for your license when a policeman stops you. Even if you try to ask what is your rank, that is even
a problem.
Yeah.
We're challenging.
You are challenging him. But it shouldn't be so. They should be able to use the law to train the people so that the people respect them when they are stopped.
Okay.
It doesn't happen. So these are some of the things that needs to come into place. And let's hope the new IGP, and I'm sure the president, the way he has started, would also demand responsibility from the new IGP and the areas he feels he should look at. I'm not saying that he would dictate his job to him, but I'm sure the president also has an idea of how the police system should work. One thing that I find that the police haven't really been able to do and do effectively is Galamsey. Galamsey. Because where Galamsey is concerned, it's not the people down there doing the job. It is the kingpins who are what? Financing it. And the police should be able to identify these kingpins. Because it's creating a mess. And it's their responsibility to do.
I mean, Prof, earlier you made reference to his marching orders about the need to modernize and transform the police. I got a sense that you seem to hold the view that the police has been transformed and modernized.
Yes. I don't see the transformation that he can bring more than what Dampare has done, especially when he has 1 year and maybe contractual extension to it. But we'll see. You know, I still stand by my words that time will tell whether this was a wrong decision or the right decision.
I mean, but around this table, the point has been made about democratic policing.
Yes, but
which, for someone as highly educated as he was or he is, I mean, we expected better.
There are many things, you know, when you go to, I have a lot of friends who are in advanced countries who are police chiefs and CID agents, and they will tell you that when you sit behind a desk, there are many things that you cannot say. Talking about even Galamsey, if IGP had been left to operate, he could have stopped Galamsey within 6 months. I'm using his own words when I met him. He could have stopped. But you know, these politicians are behind it. They come and say, go fix it. And when you go, it's their boys. Let's face the fact, the police have done a great job in this country.
It doesn't stop him from arresting them.
I know, but some people have been arrested. Recently, didn't you see that even three Chinese, and they were arrested from the forest, 3 Chinese nationals, and then 12 Ghanaians.
The kingpins.
Well, it's not easy to... Kwame, when you talk about advanced country, you see that I know of a governor, Brad, in Ohio, when a police stopped him, and then he said, I'm the governor. If the fine was $300, he charged him $1,000. If you were a leader and you flanked the law, you were charged severely because they used to punish you. But here, somebody calls, you know, a big man, and then that person is released. So we need to change our system, the way we do things. And I think that one of those things was the excesses, isolated case of excesses of police brutalities when there were peaceful demonstrations. But I've also talked about it that when you are having a demonstration, one person can pick up just a flag and demonstrate. Just one person can demonstrate and be effective. We are all benefiting from the Jubilee House and everything from Gandhi, India. Indians are building these buildings for us. But he did non-violent demonstration, and look at how he has transformed India. So demonstration doesn't necessarily have to be violent. It needs to be peaceful. And when you begin to break state assets,
I mean, if you pick the last one, the one that, I mean, attracted lots of criticism from you. I mean, people were standing at the bus stop. I know someone who...
Aka, you're talking about somebody I've never even fought in my life or been angry. I'm always a peaceful person. And wherever there's... 2 things I hate in my life. Drama and confusion. Anywhere there's drama and confusion, I walk away. So I always like peace. And I would have loved to see a peaceful Ghana where we will be open to each other and everything will be successful. We are brothers and sisters. You see, but some of these excesses, of course, we have to condemn them. And then think about professional development. How do we modernize the behaviors of the police services? I offer to even offer leadership training for them. So there are many things, many experts who can also do that. A friend of mine who is now one of the CEOs have asked me, come and do training for my board. These things we do as consultants. So let's use the expertise among us. Dampare's expertise shouldn't go waste. I think that at 54 and the accumulation of ICT and accounting and leadership that he's done, we can use it in many ways to benefit this country.
I mean,
you see, am I the next or him?
No, I was coming to you, but
why is he crossing me? You see?
I knew you were a footballer, so if he's crossing you, you can tackle him very well.
You have dribbled him quickly, so you can go on.
You see, your nature also does not bring about change. If you are somebody who runs away from confusion and you don't want conflict, it's conflict that brings about change. Nkrumah wasn't like you. If you were like you, we have independence. So there are people who also are in the opposite of yours, but they are also good for the society. That's what I want to put across.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, the next thing is that Dampare has, as I indicated, done his bit. But there's room for improvement. I disagree with Prof when he says that Dampare has done all. He can't do all. He can't do all. There's always, look, the biggest room in the world is a room of improvement. That's the biggest room. So, your new two can come and do something. Now, for me, the person who will become the best IGP in our lifetime would be the IGP who stops the police from taking 1 city, 5 cities, 5 cities in the road. That for me would be the best. Because I've gone to other countries and I've seen how their police people are disciplined.
I mean, last week you were telling us about it. Kigali.
And I still can't believe it.
Yes.
I still can't believe it that I gave a private security money in Rwanda and he didn't take it.
Yes.
I still can't, because my orientation is in Ghana. And I see how they will quickly...
I mean, in Ghana, sometimes, I mean, this one we can speak about because we all experience it. Yes. We encounter them, they ask you that,
East Africa, some airport, they have it that we don't accept bribes here.
Yeah, you know, one time I was moving with a foreigner, I mean, and...
Embarrassing.
Immediately they said that I knew what to do, and the lady was asking me that, how did I understand what he was asking? Because he couldn't figure out how he was making any money.
You know, so the day that the police will stop doing that for me, that person will be my best IGP. Like what you are saying, you are going home in the night, then they stop you, they want to check, then they check, say, okay, oh, your boys are here. Well, your boys are here, did I send you there? I'm not your own boy. I am not the one who sent you there. When I'm sending my boys somewhere, I give them money. But are you this boy? I didn't send you there.
He's not your boy.
You're not my boy. Your boys are here. So what?
You
So I think that the day that we are able to turn around that person will be my best IGP.
You know, I went to South Africa. Going to the airport, the taxi driver wasn't wearing his seatbelt. Then he saw a policeman, immediately put his seatbelt on. Because he knows if he goes any further and the policeman stops him, it's a fine, instant fine. Does that happen here? Even when at traffic lights, you see a taxi driver or a trotro driver not wearing a seatbelt and you roll your window down and say, please, wear your seatbelt. They insult you. But it's the police responsibility. It's law that everybody should wear his seatbelt. I mean, once I see those things happening, I see progress. That people are scared not to wear their seatbelt. But it needs a lot of progression. Again, as they sometimes say, you can take the village out of the man, you cannot take the man out of the village. Sometimes that is there. There are some police people who are stubborn to the hilt. The question is, are they being paid well? The question is, if they are being paid well, will they still do what they are doing? Has it become a character that is inherent in their system? But let's face it, that kind of system, isn't it throughout Ghana? Is it only the police who ask?
No.
I haven't heard soldiers ask for that. But is it only the police that ask? Quite a lot of institutions, you find it there. You go to, what do you call it, the ministries, you go to some of the public...
Go to the churches.
You know,
and you see
they would insinuate in such a way because they have a certain perspective of you that you vote, oh, Papa with the Usika, not knowing your pocket. So they have to demand from you. And sometimes when you don't give, they insult you. Sometimes the police, they've asked you once, they've asked you twice. Third time you're passing, they know this much. They would make sure that they give you wahala. But it is wrong.
But
these are some of the things that need to be changed.
There's no research that has indicated that when people are paid well, they are less corrupt. There's no such research. Because, like he said, it's a conduct, a human behavior. Because if you pay them well, if you are somebody who has love for money, you still collect that one and add to it. Yes. People, greed, you know.
Yeah, so, and even a reference to the military, because
that's what I'm coming. The military, anytime you find that there's a joint patrol, the military doesn't come close to you asking for those monies. It's the police that does that. Whether they share with the military, I don't know. But the military would stand aside, and I've noticed that, and then the police will be engaging you. It is the police who is asking for that money. The military doesn't do that. You know, so I think our military, whatever has made our military what it is, the police should be learning from that.
Okay. Yeah. Prof, I'll give you the final word.
My final word, I want to talk about the CSOs.
The SOEs, unfortunately, we couldn't do
about what is going on. In fact, we were expecting that the SOEs will become a mosaic of a melting pot where they will raise revenue for the country. But if you look at the past 5 years, we've had about 27.8 billion losses from all the state agencies. I expect SIGA to do more of introspective, monitoring and evaluation. We should pay bonuses based on efficiency and profit. We should remove a lot of bureaucracy from the system, and then we make sure that auditing is being done for our account. Because ECG, we had a debt of 5.9 billion, Ghana Water Company 1.9 billion, we have Tamarari Refinery. So the top 10, including Tamarship Yard, had 21.9 million debt. We cannot continue to have these state agencies always incurring losses, and then they are taking hefty bonuses and salaries. I think that the president, his call was in order yesterday, that they will be prosecuted. Those who are not performing will be merged or they will be sold. we need to have efficiency in the state agencies.
I mean, that's an issue that we'll discuss a bit further subsequently, and that is it by way of our discussion this morning. My guests have been Professor Enoch Opoku-Antwi, is a governance and policy analyst, regular on the show on Fridays. I was also joined by senior Kwame Jantuah, a legal practitioner, and energy analyst and member of the CPP. Yeah, he joined us as well, and another senior. Senior is 2, not 4. Abraham Amaleba is the Director General for the National Road Safety Authority. My name is Joseph Akable. Stay. We have a big discussion that will come up a bit later, a conversation with Dr. Kasiola Toforson, the Finance Minister. Stay for that, and also cash out will also take place a lot later. Stay tuned in.